Hello and welcome back to Down the Slope. We have not got a full house today. Ewan couldn't join us, but we've got Craig and Liam. Craig, how are we getting on?
Not bad, mate. Here we are again. Same old story. Ready
Uh,
to go.
at least someone's ready. Maybe if it gets to 85 minutes into the podcast, you won't be. But Liam, how are you getting on?
I'm all right. What I'd say to the listeners, and I don't normally do this, but if you're worried about maybe, you're running out of data or, you're not on particularly strong Wi-Fi, see if you just play any of the episodes for the last 2 weeks. You'll probably not really miss much in this week's episode. There'll be the same content.
Aye, and speaking of not really missing much, we're not reviewing the Ross County game because hee-haw happened. So guys, the second game that's happened, Hibs have played twice and we've picked up 2 points. If you want to look at the only positive I can kind of throw together, we've got I'm beaten in 3 games, Craig. That's something.
Yeah. No, they were unbeaten. We don't look like conceding quite as much as what we did before, but we still are. So, aye.
Aye, but let's get down to business. Played Dundee United at home. Going into the game, I was actually relatively confident of getting a win. I was very unimpressed, even though they had the late comeback against us at Tannadice, and I actually thought we had a pretty good chance of winning the game. I thought it was probably our best shot we've had in recent weeks. And Liam, we got off to a good start in that sense.
I mean, with like, I guess the thing that does separate this from previous episodes is actually, the performance was like almost for 90 minutes, very good. Maybe not 90 minutes, something approaching sort of 70, 75 minutes was very good. And it was a good positive start. I was enjoying watching us play. Um, Craig will have had the same view because you're on the east stand side. Really enjoyed watching the two players down the left flank and occasionally Joe Newell getting involved in the game. It was an absolute joy to watch at points. Sadly, on the other side of the pitch, less so. Couple of competition winners out on the right hand side who just I don't know where they got airlifted in for or if they were pished or something, but oh my god, those two. Um, aye, but no, down the left hand side they look good. Aye,
Great,
I
carry
don't
on.
know
We
what else
got
to
good
say.
vibes going here.
No, no, he's right, to be fair. I've been impressed with Jordan Abita in recent weeks. I thought his come back into a game looked more like the player he was last season. I don't know, maybe if somebody's had a word with him, but he looks much more eager to swing the ball into the box. I've noticed that he's properly whipping it in every time he does it, and obviously it's led to a couple of goals. And leads to the goal at the weekend there as well. Uh, so yeah, not much the same. The left hand side's looking much better. Hoylett, he's every week to be fair, he's looked pretty good. Maybe not so good last game at Ross County, but. Uh, Ah, I'm happy with a pair of them.
Aye, well, as we've discussed a few times on the pod, I think that the view from mainland Europe is very different from the view at Easter Road itself. Um, Before the goal happened, being honest, I was pretty bored. I thought we definitely had control of the game. I thought that there was two or three moments in which we had nice passages of play, um, and I wasn't overly impressed. However, we got a free kick, took it very quickly. Jordan Abita got the ball at his feet very fast, and Miller was at the back post and really nice goal. I don't think we see that level of tempo anywhere near enough. And I was like, that it was just refreshing. Then the next like 5, 10 minutes after that, we kept driving at them. We didn't really create any chances, but tempo's a good thing, guys. Why don't Hibs do that enough?
No, it was good. There was a bit of pressure. We were actually like like you say, we were right on top and we were putting a lot of pressure on. And Liam actually said it earlier, used the word that he enjoyed watching Hibs, which has been very scarce recently. And it was quite a bizarre feeling. Like I was at the game and I thought to myself, "This is fun. I'm liking this. This is actually good to watch." Not because we were playing like tiki-taka football or anything, but it was good, direct, exciting. Uh, in hindsight, I mean, not really in hindsight at the time, we kind of knew it. We needed that extra goal. Uh, but no, it was a good goal. It was a good swing into the box. I've said it 1,000 times. We've all said it in the group chat as well. Why we don't get that out of Lewis Miller more often, I do not know. Because he's a big physical, tall guy. We should be doing more Adam Rooney Is it Adam Rooney or Sean
Sean,
Rooney?
Sean.
Sean. Sean Rooney. We should be doing more Sean Rooney balls and more Sean Rooney elbows and all that kind of stuff.
Maybe no Sean Rooney
Uh,
elbows after.
that's a wee bit of a
Aye,
bad topic this season,
Nah,
but
yeah.
he should be winning more like that. But it was good to see him get a goal. He looks quite buzzing. I don't think it really had too much of an influence on the rest of his performance, to be fair. Uh, but no, I was happy to see him have a good moment for a change.
Liam, one thing, like I know everybody likes to talk about, and it's hard not to talk about the defensive frailties in 85 plus. But for most of the games that we're playing, including the Hearts game, including Ross County, including the game on Sunday, like I very rarely actually feel like we're going to concede. Like leading up to the goals, the Hearts game, like as I said last week, I think the Barsic fumble made me think, Christ, all right, they're gonna like that's when it felt to me the
mm,
shift. But before that, I didn't feel threatened. Dundee United game, I'd like obviously they had the one chance near the start of the half, but apart from that, it didn't feel like they were actually knocking at the door at all.
nah, not really. They did have that one quite good chance in the second half where it sort of was like a cutback, wasn't it? And the boys, it's a poor finish. The boys sort of skews it wide. But other than that, I don't think they really created a huge amount of sort of quality chances. But then again, like neither did we either. Like most of the chances we created were sort of half chances. I think the thing that will be frustrating, and it's frustrating me, is the two centre halves are actually playing quite well and have been now for quite a few weeks. And I think if you remember back to the start of the season, that was where everyone was worried. Everyone was worried about the two centre halves. They've come onto a game, but we're still not keeping clean sheets because, as we all know, football's more than just the two centre halves defending well. And unfortunately, sometimes you rely on your big dozy striker coming back for nothing balls into the box, and they do stupid stuff like Miko did yesterday.
Aye. Well, if everybody and their dog commented about the VAR decision, and I know we don't like talking about VAR decisions because VAR is inherently terrible. For me, I just think it's like I don't blame Miko. I think that he was pulling at the player, and I think the player was pulling at him. I think that there was every corner, every free kick you get where it's going into the box. I think you see those situations. I think when you slow it down and it's slow-mo and you can see a bit of a pull on the top, I think it looks so much worse. But football, as I always say, isn't played in freeze frames. I think it's a terrible decision. I don't think the O'Hara one's a penalty either. I think both of them
No,
are just footballers playing football.
no.
But I think if you do give one at one end, you have to give the other. And in my opinion, for VAR, they need to put some form of time cap in. If it gets to 90
Oh,
seconds and you've not made a decision, it's not clear and obvious, so just stick with what's on the field. Like, see, the thing is for me, if you stick with what's on the field, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to be annoyed if it's because, like, it's just human instinct. Just go with what suits. It's not what VAR was brought in for.
say at time of the game, but for fans at the game, irrespective of home away or whatever, the way that they leave you in the dark is just absolutely horrendous. Um, what 2.5 minutes yesterday before he even went to the screen, and then at least another minute or two at the screen, which I think in itself kind of tells you that it's not clear and obvious. I think Bobby Madden said as such today. Even Dermot Gallagher's turned on him because Dermot Gallagher's saying it's not a penalty. It's bad when Dermot Gallagher's turning against the referees. It's just it's absolutely it's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. It's one of a catalogue of reasons why we didn't win the game yesterday. Because to be honest, with the domination we had of the ball and the sort of phases of play, we probably should have gone on and got a second and third goal yesterday. So it's not the only reason we didn't win the game, but it's obviously a huge contributing factor. And to us, just carries on a wee bit for last season. I still got a bit of a sour taste in my mouth last season with some of the awful VAR calls that went against us last season. I still think we're way overdrawn in terms of bad VAR decisions over the course of the last year and a bit. I'm like, when are some of these decisions going to start going in our favour? Because I'm getting fucking sick of it, to be honest. Really fucking sick of it.
Well, at least the geniuses at the top of our club decided, without consulting the fans, that Hibs
Aye,
endorse VAR. So
aye.
they've only
Another
got themselves to
fucking,
blame. But
another fucking great decision for that lot.
aye, because Craig, they're full of them, aren't they? But Craig, do you want to get a bit of a rant out about that? Because Jesus,
No, just like you said earlier, we were talking a wee bit in the group chat uh, earlier today, and I totally agree. I just think both of them, like the one at the other end for us, like they're both just normal things. These happen 100 times in a football match. Like players, it's not a massive pull on his shirt. It does pull him, And I understand folks saying, "Oh, it's silly touching them in the box." Yeah, I get it, but players do it. They're feeling where each other are. It just for VAR to get involved in that, it just seems absolutely crazy. He's not affecting the ball whatsoever. And by the way, footballers need to have a word with themselves because this whole hitting the deck so easily is an absolute
I
nonsense.
know.
Because and they all have a go at each other when it happens to them. Like they're angry when it gets done to them, but then they're just as quick to do it to another player. It's like they need, you can't just be hitting the deck real easy, getting to try and get a penalty, and then somebody does it to you and you go fucking mental at them. It just this. I mean, that's a thing in modern football. I suppose it's all about winning the game, and they're not really that bothered at the time. They're just raging when it happens to them. So yeah, I was annoyed at the game. To be honest, I had no idea what had happened. I didn't even see anybody hitting the deck at the time.
Nah.
The only
No
thing I
appeals
could think
either.
of at the
No
game was
appeals.
like when the ball broke out towards the stand side, like Boyle bumped into a guy, and I thought, is it hit his arm or something? That's all I could think of at the time. But like you say, you're left completely in the dark. You've no idea what's going on. The fact that it takes them 2 minutes to have a look at it before even like this is them just thinking to themselves, do we need to get the referee to come and have a second look at it? So if you're taking that long to decide whether the referee needs a second look, it's not a foul. End of. So yeah, raging. But and I feel sorry for the players because the difference is yesterday, I actually fully believe that we would have seen that game out. I think there would have been a wee bit of pressure, as there inevitably is going to be with the situation we're in. But we were defending really, really well, and we didn't look like conceding at all, to be honest, other than that one chance, yes. But I feel like that was more an isolation than like being a barrel load of chances that United were getting. So no, I was really disappointed.
Liam,
I think, I think. No, I was just going to say. I mean, I don't want to go on about it too much because I'm conscious that probably everyone will be switching off listening to us talk about VAR again. But like, I do think that ultimately, I mean, I do have obviously quite a bit of sympathy with the players. I mean, there's one player who I don't have sympathy with because I think, if you're unfortunately, the cliched thing is, if you are stupid enough to do it, then ultimately it can be punished. It's just that what you would hope is that you get the same consistent decision up at the other end, and then you're sort of, I suppose, redeemed by the fact that we get a penalty up at the other end. I do feel sorry for the centre halves in some respects because, again, they've both played fairly well in a game. Particularly Marv, actually, probably better than fairly. I thought
I was going to say Marv was
Marv
better
was
than Fairley.
probably Marv was really really good. Number of ground duels, one aerial duels, just I mean everything. Just his positional play was excellent. I feel sorry for them because ultimately defenders are going to make a mistake at some point and then they'll get crucified with we've not kept a clean sheet or we've not done this, or we've not done that. When actually, to be honest, they've done everything in their power really to stop us for conceding. Even don't think there's really an awful lot the goalie can do in a penalty situation like that either. Even the goalie, to some extent, I feel a wee bit sorry for. You can probably tell by my tone I'm a wee bit scunnered by yesterday.
Aye. Speaking of people I'm scunnered at, or more like annoyed at, McCullough needs to just, like, as I say, I'm not blaming him for the goal, but I'm blaming him for the performance. I thought he was crap again. I think that he's been really, really underwhelming. Being honest, I was quite excited to have him back. I really liked him on his first stint at the club, but it looks relatively uninterested. At first, I thought people were being harsh when they said they could have chased down the ball a bit harder, but he 100% should have chased that down. Um, yeah, I don't know if he's the type of player that relies on having a strike partner with him, but like, do we have to make excuses for players to actually put a shift in? And have we got a recognised striker for next week? Do we actually have to play Harry McCurdy against St Mirren?
Kale might be back.
I was gonna say,
Kale might be back. To be honest, even if he wasn't, you'd play Yuan through the middle before you'd
Yeah,
play
true.
McCurdy. Let's be honest. You'd probably pick a boy out the stands before you'd play McCurdy. I honestly, I'm the Kukurevich one. I mean, this whole does he need a strike partner? How is it only we sign strikers that all need strike partners that can't put in their own?
Aye.
You're literally signing a striker knowing that you're going to play a one striker system. It's almost like you should actually use your recruitment and your scouting network to identify in players rather than just sign players because they were here before.
But
Just a fucking wild idea. Like I know it was too good to turn down. A guy that scores a goal every 7 games. But I'm done with him. He can go in January. I've had enough. I've seen enough of him. It's hopeless,
But
absolutely hopeless.
obviously we can sign players we've had before, but don't forget we can sign people's brothers as well. That's definitely top of the recruitment strategy. Um, yeah, Craig, any positives that we've not mentioned that you can look to? I think you used to thought Newell's back to a bit of form yesterday.
I enjoyed Neil in the first half, particularly. To be fair, I actually
Aye.
thought he dropped his level a wee bit at the start of the first sort of 15 minutes of the second half. I thought he was verging on poor, to be fair. But the first half, I thought he was excellent. Harry, you were uh, speaking some nonsense in the group chat, to be honest. But
I didn't say
I
it was
thought he was
bad. I thought it was
superb.
fine. Like,
Mm,
see, the thing is, and I said the same about the performance. I think that we've just put the bar so low that we're getting impressed with doing very average things. I think Joe Newell was fine yesterday. I probably would have given him a 7 out of 10. Like, I don't think he was bad at all. I think he had a few nice touches, a few nice passes. I think he's still done some stuff that was a bit sloppy and annoyed me, but not so much as usual or in recent weeks. So for me, yeah, definitely pass marks, definitely a 7 out of 10. But I wouldn't have given him like an 8 or a 9.
I think that's a maybe a difference in your perspective of mainland Europe versus being at the game, because I
Yep.
think a lot of the good interchanges of play between Hoylett and Obita and Yule was involved in some way. Um, he was doing that classic thing I love to see him do, where he picks up and drives out of challenges and gets away from players. Like it's the kind of way that you like to see Joe Newell kind of almost attack the game from a deep position, is what he was doing yesterday. It was really good. And he had that, what I thought was a brilliant first time ball. Who was it that ran onto that? Remember the pass that he sort of he hit through first time? And
curled through the middle.
That was
it
to
was
Hoylett,
I
I
think it
think
was
that time.
Hoylett.
Hoylett, I think.
Hoylett should do better there, actually. If I was to have one criticism of Hoylett, I think sometimes he's got himself into positions the last few games where he would like to just see him either slow it down a touch and wait to see who's coming in to support, or just be a bit more like a bit more decisive. One of the two. He sort of seems to get caught in the middle a wee bit for me at points, but I thought those were the four positives. To be honest, Marv, Obita, Hoylett, and you. Um, the rest of the team was somewhere between meh to poor.
Yep, agree.
Aye. And just like I definitely, I think one person I feel bad for is Gray. He's obviously having a hard shake of it at the moment. And we have to discuss the horrific fact of being 11 games into the season and having dropped 11 points from winning positions. Is it a mentality thing? Is it something that we're doing that we're setting up? Is it bad luck? Like I think it's too consistent for it to be bad luck. So there must be something that we can sort. Is it just losing the mind a bit at the end of games, Craig? What's actually
Uh,
going on there?
as I've said in previous weeks, I genuinely think it's a bit of everything, really. I think there'll be a bit of it all in there. I think inevitably there is a bit of bad luck. Yesterday there was bad fortune in it. There's no doubt about it. But also there is mentality as well. You can't lose this many points and not be a mentality and a confidence thing.
Yeah.
Uh, like better teams would be seeing out these games. Also, better teams with a bit more killer instinct and a bit more confidence and drive about them would have put that game to bed and went 2 or 3 nil up. Uh, so yeah, a bit of everything to be fair.
Aye. But I mean, that's just what Craig said.
Um, and yeah, was there any other talking points on the game? What another thing that I'm trying not to bring up too many negatives because the vibes aren't particularly great when you're sitting bottom of the league, but we do need to start creating chances. I know in my head yesterday's game that signaled Levitt's just not going to feature for Hibs at all. As I think that was a perfect game based off the game at Tannadice. They seemed comfortable not having all the possession and trying to kind of play off the ball and try and counter attack. And I thought if the player that we think Levitt is the type of guy that can pick up the ball from relatively deep and try and create chances against teams sitting back. I just thought it was a good time to actually get him in there and give him a shot. Obviously, Gray thought otherwise. I just don't think he's fancied by Gray or the team. I know he's got a long contract, so it's going to be a bit difficult to move him on. But yeah, either of you guys got thoughts on that or not really caring because he's not played much at all.
Nah, I think he's probably, even Jake Doyle Hayes came on before him in the derby, so I think, Jake Doyle Hayes, I don't think he's been a squad since. So I think that kind of tells you where he is in the plans. But he's one of a number of players, to be honest, who're sort of on the way out. I think he'll be easier to move on than Nohan Kenna and Luke Amos because he's a better footballer than those two players. And I wish him well, obviously, but I mean, I think he'll be used very sparingly between now and January, and I would expect him to probably go in January just based on how little action he's seen and players that are ultimately being used ahead of him. Still, I think if in the system he played yesterday, I think he could potentially play where Quan played, like as the sort of second eight. I do think he could potentially be used in that system, but I think it's quite telling that we're making all those subs late in the game and he's not going to him. He's picking guys that are youth players essentially ahead of him. Um, Even the fact that Harry McCurdy's seen minutes before him. I mean, if I was a professional footballer, and I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Got in too much on him.
No,
You know what I was going to say though.
yeah, it was implied. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Um, but we'll kind of look to the St Mirren game and then kind of the weeks ahead as well. Craig, we're not getting wins. What do we need to do against St Mirren apart from not concede very late on to actually build on the performance at the weekend and try and get 3 points?
I, we need to score more goals. We're not scoring enough goals. So I believe we're lowest in the league, which obviously is
Lowest
hardly
wins, lowest
surprising.
goals.
When you're bottom of the league, that's obviously probably something that's going to get a stat that's going to be with you. We need to score more goals. We need to kill games off. Uh, I don't know. I slightly agree with it. We're not making chances. I think we're making some chances, maybe not like clear cut chances, or we're getting half chances to make a clear cut chance, and we're just making a final pass wrong or a final shot wrong or whatever. But I think we definitely need to kill games off and just get to the stage where even if we concede one late on, we've got that cushion of another goal there anyway. Although we'd probably find a way to make an arse of it and concede two. It's been done before. I'm sure it'll happen again.
Literally.
Uh, yeah, no, I don't even know. I don't even know how they stop this, to be fair, because it's happening every week, and there's that inevitability about it now as well. So I won't dive into tactics or anything like that, but yeah, my main ask in the next game would be score more goals, and I'm looking at my boy Yuan for that.
Liam, apart from Ellie Yuan, is getting Molotnikov back in an option or
I don't think so. I don't think so. Not at this point in time. I think you'd need to earn his way back into the team. I do think Jan's the sort of player that we're probably going to have to pin quite a lot of our hopes on. I don't really like him on the right, but I'd maybe even be tempted to play him on the right ahead of Boyle because we're not getting enough production out of Martin Boyle this season. Again, I keep seeing on Twitter people saying the number of goals and assists he's had this season, but you take away the League Cup and he hasn't really contributed much at all for Hibs this season. I just in terms of the chance creation, I think we're creating chances, but I think most of them are coming from set plays. You asked me that question last week if we were going to be that team, Harry. Maybe I was a bit too flippant in my response because maybe that is the team that we are. Maybe we are just a team that's looking to create the majority of our chances from set plays. We create the odd sort of half chance from open play, but probably not enough for the amount of time that we've got on the ball, which is bizarre, really, when you think about it, because everyone I think would recognise the playing style has changed massively from under Montgomery. But I think that was a bit of an issue under Nick Montgomery as well, as we had a lot of the ball but didn't create a lot of chances. So, more things change, the more things stay the same, right? Like it just feels very to be honest, it feels very much like we're a team that are still trying to figure out how to play with one another in an attacking sense. And I think you only really get that from continuity of selection, but we seem to keep changing the sort of front line from game to game, which I'll be honest, I don't necessarily think that's particularly helpful. I think actually you want to go with a more of a settled front line. We've watched the defenders over the last few weeks build bit of a better understanding as a result of continuity of selection. Maybe we need to have a bit more continuity in selection going forward. Having said that, there's certain players I want to see dropped, so major contradiction.
I I feel that we need to try and squeeze Nicky Cadden in. I think his cameos he always looks a bit of a bright spark. He'd probably be a bit of a disaster on the right though, wouldn't he? If we're being
He
honest.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would. The more I watch Jordan Obita in recent weeks, him and Jordan Obita, ultimately their strength is the same. They get into a bit of space and they put a good ball on their left foot, and they both can't occupy that same area of the pitch. So I don't really know how the two of those guys fit into the team. I also question, I mean, this is, sort of on the more defensive side of things. One thing I would have a criticism of how we set up yesterday, I mean, our press was very disjointed. And it was quite, when the rare times Dundee United did have the ball, it was quite easy for them to play out of it because they didn't really seem to know what we're doing again. And I think that's another thing you pick up when you watch it a bit more closely. Do I don't know, do we need to bring someone else in there who's going to help in some of the games be a bit more of a press setter and organise us a bit more? Because I just felt like at times yesterday we just went in ones and twos. Sometimes there was no real organisation to it. And I don't know if Nicky Cadden's that guy. I suspect not, given he's been a wing back most of his career. So yeah, as I mean, there's a lot to ponder with a squad that's been built, which we still have no idea. I think, are we any closer now than we were at the beginning of the season to knowing what the best 11 is? I'm not sure.
No,
That,
to be fair, the squad at the moment. I mean, it is impacted by the fact that I think it's so low in confidence that it makes your view of it probably a bit worse than what the actual ability of the squad is. But
Mm.
it is a very average squad of players, really, isn't it? Like there is a lot of bang average players in there, and I suppose if that's harsh on them, but I would say that's probably true that a lot of them just aren't like great players.
I
No,
I don't
we're,
think
we're-
to have a sorry. Do you go? You go.
no, it's just really quickly. I mean, I think it's typified by the fact we signed a 34-year-old guy, winger who was injured when he got here, and he's gone on to be our best player of the season so far. I mean, none of these guys are getting in a Hibs, lifetime 11. I mean, Junior Hoylett potentially be one of those kind of streets won't forget. Really enjoyed him for 12, 18 months, however long he ends up staying here for. But none of these guys are going to. Let's face it. I mean, I don't think any of these guys would even get on the subs bench for the best Hibs teams that we've seen. So it isn't a good team. And despite signing 13 players in the summer, I don't think Malky's really improved it. And I hear people saying it's too early to judge Malky Mackay because of the remit that a sporting director's got. I'm not convinced that's true. I think your first job and your first window is to improve the squad. Sign 13 players. Is it better? Well, objectively, no, it's not, given our league position at this stage of the season.
A
I would
manager's judged off that period of time as well, though, so surely
Aye.
that should go up the tree as well.
like for me. I don't think in Scottish football you need to have an above average squad. I think having average players that are cohesive as a team can work well. But I think Liam touched on it well. I don't. I think we've I think we've just recruited really badly. I just don't think we've filled gaps. We've put a lot of um, like random players together and hoped for the best. Um, we know what type of player McCullough is. I don't know why we brought him in and put Venti away. We brought the team just doesn't make sense. Like, see when we talk about the midfield, I just don't see what our strongest three is, and I just don't think it merges together at all. Like the team was screaming out, like Luke McCowan. I think if we signed Luke McCowan, I think we're probably about 10 points better off than we are realistically. I think there's such an obvious gap in the team that if we fill that in January, I think we look so much better just as a unit. And as Liam touched on there, if you've got a player that plays slightly more advanced in Quanas that can actually link the attack together, you're going to get more chances and you're going to put more pressure on the opponents. Like the recruitment was bad.
Yeah,
Like
but there is a slight caveat with that uh, undoubtedly a massive part of football is a goal scorer. We
Uh,
did spend a bit of money to sign a goal scorer, and he has got injured. Had we had a goal scorer in this team now, even Luke McCowan from midfield would have pitched in with a few goals. Had we had a goal scorer up top, I think in a lot of these games we we probably would have done a bit better if you have a guy who's actually putting the ball away. So I think that is something that's a slight defence of
I,
the
and no,
recruitment.
I know that if you've got a better goal scorer, he's going to get himself in better positions. But how much service would Bowie have actually got?
But to be fair, you've seen his one goal, and
Aye, yeah.
he didn't really need much service for that. To be fair, I think if you've got a guy that's going to make goals out in very little, then it's going to put you in a better position in games. Goals change games, and maybe I'm scraping around for an excuse for them, but uh,
Bit of a weird one to go for an excuse for. They've literally guided us to the bottom of the Premier League and we're looking for excuses for them, Craig. What's going on with that one?
I just try to offer
Can we just go
a
back a wee
slight devil's
second?
advocate.
Go on, Liam.
Can we just go back a wee second to Harry's comment that if we sign McCowan, we'd be 10 points better off? Like I think that is one of those takes that you have, Harry. It's impossible to either quantify that or not quantify it, just on the basis that like we just don't know how he would have worked in this team, and you don't know who else would have signed. And I do think, based on yesterday, am I looking at that midfield and thinking the midfield's the problem? Probably
Absolutely.
not.
We've just said that not scoring goals is our biggest problem. We've got no player that will consistently create chances. That's what Luke McCowan
Um,
done for Dundee. That's why Dundee got off to such a good start of the season. They lost him and now they're pish.
He did create chances. He also a goal scorer as well. I'm not sure that just creating chances has been our problem though. If you look at the last 11 games, we're talking about that as an isolation as an issue. I think the fact that I mean, creating chances doesn't help you see out a game when you're 2-1 up at Tannadice in injury time. Like creating chances doesn't prevent you from your striker having a brain fart at the end of the game like that. There, I don't know. I think the McCowan thing is. I kind of loathe to talk about it because it's been and gone, but like I do also think it's just one of these things that I'm not sure that's really the difference maker for us so far this season or not.
I,
I
I
think it would help though. It would help.
I
It's
strongly
help.
disagree. I think that
It's
at the
help.
start of this summer transfer window, we identified that as a slot that we massively needed to fill. During the League Cup, Josh Campbell made us think that he was going to be the solution to that problem. No offense to Josh, but he definitely was not. And it's still the biggest hole in the team for me. Like we're currently playing three players in midfield that prefer to sit deeper. Like none of those three players are the types of players that you want further advanced. Like Newell and Kwon are further ahead of Triantis, but they're not
Mm.
inherently attacking midfielders. We've not got an attacking flair in the middle of the park that'll actually like I know you said Joe Newell once or twice drove the team on, but like historically Hibs teams, we need players that will consistently try and drive the team on. And if it doesn't come from the middle of the park, you need wingers like Ellie Yuan last year in Maulida that'll get the ball and actually drive and take the team forward. Like this team's just missing anything that'll put momentum into it and actually get the rest of the team. Like it's the same as the press thing. Like Scottish football's such a momentum based thing. If you've got individuals like individuals in Scottish football are good enough to make whole teams look good. Like look at Shankland last year. Hearts are not different. They've just got a goal scorer that's not scoring goals, and now they're sitting like 1 point above us at the bottom of the league. If you've got one very good player that's playing very well in Scottish football, because as we've said, the defensive recruitment, obviously the goalkeeper hasn't had the best season, but the two centre backs are fine. Midfield, in my opinion, as I've touched on so many times, I just think it's so meh. I just don't. I wouldn't ever give them more than like a 6 out of 10. And the wingers and striker, I, it's just
I'm not sure they've played me together as a three very often. That three yet. Like to be honest, I thought they controlled the game. I know what you're saying about chance creation. I did think they controlled the game yesterday, and I'm not really sure. Like Newell obviously did create a chance as we've talked about earlier on. I'm not really sure that's necessarily what I'm in. They're in the team to do in this team is create lots of chances. But I think in this team, if you look at Hoylett, he's a massive creative outlet for us. Quite frankly, he's in the team to create chances. Jordan Obita is obviously a massive creative outlet with his balls into the box. Miller to some extent. And I think you're looking to get a lot more out of Martin Boyle, to be honest, as well as Miko doing his fair share, but we're not getting anything from those players. So I know you're coming from a McCowan and look, he undoubtedly would have helped, but I just think there's other really gaping flaws to this team. Like I just don't. We signed a striker that scored one goal every 7 games to be our main front man. Like that to me in a nutshell is an issue.
Do you know what? It's not actually Bumiko that just now. The thing that's sort of glaringly obvious to me is actually just not even his goal scoring ability or sort of lack thereof in terms of consistent basis goal scoring. It's his hold up play. Like if you're playing up top on your own, you need to be able to hold the ball up when it comes to it. It needs to stick. Uh, and he needs to be able to bring other players into the game. He's just not doing that just now. His first touch is absolutely abysmal. He needs to work on that in the training ground or something because it's to be honest, it's not good enough. There's a couple times that the ball comes to him and it literally just bounces off him, off his big toe. Like you need to be doing better, bringing. And I actually think Harry makes a fair point about the midfielders in terms of maybe a link between the midfield and attack. But it's difficult for the midfielders to get into the game when they put the ball into the striker or somebody, whoever it is, puts the ball into the striker and it's just bouncing off him and you're losing possession. The midfielders maybe got to start making a run up the park, and then by the time they get there, the ball's bounced off them and it's going over their head again. So yeah, I think he needs to do a much better job, not just thinking about scoring himself, but maybe taking the ball in and getting the team up the park.
So, based off the whole conversation we've just had, I think the defensive midfield probably pick itself. I don't think Gray's going to sway away from any of those options. But for the front three, big mix out. Assuming Gale's in, are we just going to do the same front three but with Gale up top? Or would you change anything from that?
I'd drop Martin Boyle.
Would that be Hoylett outright and Yuan on the left?
Nah, I'd probably just keep Hoylett where he is, to be honest. I don't really like Yuan on the right, but like I said earlier, I don't really want to see Martin Boyle start at the moment. It's not offering enough.
Craig, same for you?
Uh, it's just difficult to who I would put right. I actually don't mind you and down the middle. The couple of times that he's played there, I thought he's looked okay. So I'd play him down the middle, Hoyle out left, but the right hand side, who else?
Is at the stage
Chris,
David Gray's just
Chris
got to be like,
Cadden turn to the right wing.
oh no, let's not do that again.
Dylan
Is at the
Levitt,
stage
right
though,
wing.
just make it funny. Just start Harry McCurdy for a laugh. Like, could you imagine the meltdown that Liam would have on the podcast? Harry
It would be
McCurdy
good
hat
banter,
trick at
to be
home to
fair.
St Mirren. Like, you're bottom of the league. Just start throwing the toys at the pram and see what sticks. That's what I'd do.
Who else
Just
have we got that could play right wing? Like genuinely, Josh Campbell could he could play right wing. I'm sure, but like who do we have?
Uh,
Molotnikov maybe.
Nah,
nah,
Uh,
oh nah. Don't think we've got anyone else to be honest that can play there. But I mean, I suppose Bowie would have played there if he was fit and available. I think that'd probably been his way into the team.
you know, it would have cooked if we put Gale on the right and Yuan for the middle. That's how we're going to cook,
Uh,
boys.
right. That's enough of that.
Oh goodness. All right. Well, I guess the final thing we've got to do, gents, is score predictions. Craig, we'll come to you first, mate.
I think I've probably predicted Hibs to win. Like what have we played this 10 league games so far? I think I've probably predicted us to win 8 of them. Uh, so I'm going to continue that trend. I, I I said it last week before we played Ross County and Dundee United. I thought we were going to win both. We've drawn both, so we were close. So St Mirren at the weekend, that's going to be the change. 2-1 Hibs. Nail biter to in the last 10 minutes plus the 45 additional VAR minutes that we'll get again. By the way, didn't touch on that. 103rd minute in a football match. Disgrace. Not happy about that. But 2-1 Hibs.
2-1 Hibs. Liam, what you thinking?
Uh, I'm not there this weekend, so probably actually a win. I'll go 2-0. We'll actually go 1-0 up and then go and get a second. Like we'll actually go and get a second goal this time, and it'll just kill them off. I,
Like it's
I, I, I genuinely, like, I'm just predicting that out of blind faith at this late stage.
well, you can what I reckon. You know what's really annoyed me? Like, correct me if I'm wrong. People are being like Hibs are rock bottom. We're bottom of the league, and if we were to win our game in hand, we would be off the bot. Like to me, rock bottom means that you're like
All
four
right, Ian
points plus
Wilson.
away. Like, is it just me, or is that really bad phrasing?
I mean, well, we are bottom, but
But we're not rock bottom. Like rock bottom sounds like you've not got a fighting chance to get back.
Uh, Kind of feels like that now, though. To be honest, I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Uh,
I don't know. I just, I'm very conscious that you can look at it the way of three unbeaten, but we are also three games where we've not won and we've not won in six essentially. So depending on your perspective, I suppose you can flip it either way. But yeah. I think it's just something the media saying it. It's a bit of shock value. Rock bottom.
Okay. Aye, it was just a bunch of numpties. But yeah, no, for me, you can what, boys? We've flipped the script. I feel like I'm more positive than you guys. Looking at the table, I think how many is it? 4 points we are off top six, or something stupid like that. Because top six is only 12 points and we're on eight. We've got games in hand. You can what? St Mirren, you're getting pumped at the weekend. 3-1 Hibs. We're going to absolutely pump them for no reason. McCurdy's going to get his first goal. He's going to do the bow and arrow. His arrow's going to fire up to Liam and knock his pie out his hand. I don't think Liam gets pies at the game. Who knows? But that's what's going to happen on Sunday. Is it Sunday or Saturday? I lose track.
Saturday.
Saturday.
Saturday. There we go.
Can I
Aye.
just sorry? Can I just pull you up there? You just said that in that current predicament, rock bottom is not an adequate descriptor, but yet we're going to pump someone 3-1. 3-1 is not a pumping. 3-1's not a pumping.
No,
If rock
but
It's
bottom's
not
not.
depending on the context of the game. It's 3-0
Boom.
No,
and they
but
scored
on
in
a
the last minute.
typical
That
a
would do.
typical 3-1 is not a pumping, and it's certainly if you're going to pull people up for using the term rock bottom is certainly more correct than a pumping for 3-1.
Harry is a
then
journalist, though, so it's in his blood to do that.
I'm not
I
a
think we need to get into the
journalist.
football cliches podcast and just send things that Harry says in every week to the football cliches, like when he says we'll be 10 points better off just by
Aye.
signing this one player.
Honestly, we'd be absolutely cooking. Um,
Aye,
and
we'd be 15 points better off if we signed Erling Haaland as well. There you go. I
Erling
just
Haaland would struggle so much in this
He
Hibs team.
would. He
That's my
would.
prediction. If Erling Haaland played for this Hibs team, he'd score less than 10 goals in a league season. There you go. There's a good.
that's
Uh,
a take. Like
I
aye,
reckon
that's a
he'd love it
take.
in Scotland, by the way. It's heavy physical and that. He'd be brilliant.
aye.
Mm,
Nah, he would actually ball it in Scottish football. To be fair to him. Um,
almost like he's tailor made, to go and sign him.
Well,
And
PKFC.
Bill
Elias
Foley,
Melkerson was not.
get the wallet out, Bill Foley.
They've just papped Man City at the weekend as well. So surely, like, if Bournemouth can beat City, they'll realise that Hibs are a bigger club than City. We've connected the dots there. All right, we're losing the plot. Hibs need to get the finger out. We are literally sick of coming on here every single week and having to talk about conceding a goal in the 88th or the 91st or the 93rd or the 86th minute. Just stop conceding late goals, Hibs. See if you're going to get beat. Just do it properly. Don't get our hopes. That's the thing. We didn't even get beat, but it feels like a defeat. So, aye, let's let's agree that next time we all jump on the podcast, we've got good vibes because Hibs didn't get beat or lose a win in the last minute, and we'll all just be happier, guys. That sounds magic. Huh? Great.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks so much for putting up with us, and we will catch you next time. Goodbye.
Cheers.
Right.